in order to be able to secure the door so it doesn't bang. it's just in case someone arrives when we start the formal service, like 3 o'clock, and they may regret not having that chance to do that. That was my only thought. But you could be the judge of that. You can decide later if you wish. If you notice anybody that didn't get a chance to see the open casket, then maybe you can decide to open it for a few minutes. But it's your call. If you can think about it during service. I'll ask you again. It's respectful either way, if you're worried about that. If you need it. Yeah. In case your data runs over. All right then. So, just to keep that in mind, let's you and I talk to the funeral first. And know that. Well, we've got one debate.
Put some secrets in his pocket. Yeah. Misty makes it. She called me earlier.
Well, I also got the card that you,
Is Frankie still up? I don't know. He feels emotional. He didn't say how to have
Dad, you gave her that rough mouth.
Did you dress the
so glad.
Well, you did today. Your hair was a fucking
I did, it's in the car. I was waiting.
I've been here since 1980.
I think you wear a mask
These are
a collection of what's going on, you know, like, you break it up and then you lost all the. Worked hard all the years. When I'm older, and you're older. Yeah, how'd you get so old? No, I'm shorter, actually. And you're, yes, you got it right. The last time I saw you, he was on a bus. Maybe 3-4 years ago, or is it longer? Really, was it? Okay. Listen, speaking the truth, you laugh about it. But no, I remember, yeah, you were asking about Eli, and you sharing some memories, which was good. Touched by your, what do you call it? Yeah. But he's got his own choice. But then he was away for 4 months, and he was very so we had books, you know. Yeah, he tried, we tried. You doing okay?
Yeah, Barry said.
Yeah, of course. Maybe I'll get Grace to call folks from the outside in. That's it. around here. I think, friends, we're going to start now, and the technology part hopefully will work itself out by the time we're ready for it. And if not, we can postpone that part of the David story, the PowerPoint, in other words, until after the service, and we'll see it during refreshments. And some of you may be on a schedule, so we don't want to force you into the position where you have to leave early because we didn't start the service appropriately on time. So I'm Barry Morris, as some of you may know, most of you might know, and thank you for coming for David's funeral service. And thank you for your support to members of the family, including, in many ways, supporting yourselves. David and Elaine got married through this church, I think it was 1997, I think. So that's about 24 years ago. It seems like just a few years ago. But then a lot of things get a bit confused by the times we've been living in. And then some of you will also know, most of you perhaps, that the green catcher above the monitor, close to being above the coffin, is also a gift from Elaine and David some years back. I can't remember when they gifted the dream catcher to the Longhouse, but it's remained prominently there in place all these years, and we've been very happy to have it. It's been very helpful to us. So, thank you for coming. We are going to be singing a couple of songs, perhaps not all the verses for each song. Like one familiar one will be Amazing Grace. So you will need eventually either Voices United or Amazing Grace, the green book that might be in your section in your pew or something like that. So there's lots of them around, but some of them are stacked up. So if you don't have one, let me know when we get to it, and I'd be glad to get you a copy of a book, get you a hymn book, so we can use it. You need to use the washrooms at any time. You just go right downstairs, or you can go out and through the door on the southwest part of the building. That door is open, and you can go in and use one of the two washrooms that's at the north side of the church on either side of the kitchen. Just feel free to do that. Okay. I want to thank Donald for coming out this afternoon. He usually plays for us on a Sunday morning. We have our services now outside. We're under the scrutiny both of the health authorities and the church authorities because we've basically remained open throughout the entire pandemic, and they finally began to come down on us. So we've had to make some alterations so we can still remain functional and responsive, but under different conditions. So if you're ever here on a Sunday morning, you might see a sign on the door with an arrow indicating that we're on the east side of the building, even in the pouring rain, as we've done a couple of Sundays. So thank you for coming. There will be a chance to share a little bit later on if you're so moved to share. Some of you have already been doing that, or will have occasion to do it over our refreshments or in days to come. So I just want to thank you for being here, and I want to just offer a short prayer for guidance in our time together. Gracious God, we give you thanks for this day and our lives in and through this day. For the one for whom we gather, David Lloyd Webb, we give you thanks for his life, all 71 years and counting. We're thankful that he touched our lives in various ways that in a few minutes we will have a chance to touch on in more detail. For that which brings us together, including the very gift of life, thank you. Guide us in our time together so that what we say, sing, or even feel in shared silence is respectful and an honor to David Webb, but also in honor to you as the source and sustainer and the redeemer of our lives. Guide us, we pray, in Christ's name. Amen. Okay. If you are talking, gentlemen, just try to keep it down to a low whisper. Thank you. Okay. Right. I want to share, because of David's age, I want to share, not just because of his fact he reached I'm going to leave that off so I can be heard, if you don't mind. I want to turn to the 90th Psalm for a couple of reasons. One of them being because one of the verses in the 90th Psalm actually makes a general reference to that plateau in David's life that he reached. So the 90th Psalm goes like this. I'm not going to read it all, but I'll read some selected verses. So the 90th Psalm says this. Welcome. Gracious God, you've been our dwelling place in all generations. Sometimes you turn us back to dust and say, turn back, you mortals. This is a psalm really about mortality. For 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it is past, or like a watch in the night. You sweep all the years we've had away. They are like a dream, like grass that is renewed in the morning. In the morning it flourishes and is renewed. In the evening it fades and withers. That's what our life sometimes feels like, the psalmist is saying. For all the days passed under your watch, our years come to an end like a sigh. The days of our life, and here's the verse that I think is particularly apt for David's life, our lives as well. The days of our life are 70 years. Sometimes it says 70. The biblical term for 20 years at a time is score. So 70 would be 3 times 20 plus 10, it makes 70. Here it's been localized into the English. The days of our life are 70 years and perhaps 80 if we are strong. But even then, the span of our life is only sometimes toil and trouble. They are soon gone away and we fly away. So teach us to count our days, that we may gain a wise heart. In other words, teach us that our life is short, really, so that we may develop hearts that are wise from that understanding. Now that's a lot easier said than done. It's a lot easier said than done. You know, we often say, well, life is short. So, you know, you got to make hay while the sun shines. We have to take our lives and live them to the fullest. And that's good advice. It's good counsel. But we're not always able to follow that for all sorts of reasons. We carry multiple obligations, appointments, commitments, dates, unfinished business. Not only because it's April and it's income tax time at the end of the month, but things like that come up, eh? And so it's not always easy to be present. As important as that emphasis is now being made, not only through various forms of some spiritual disciplines, but even through activities like mindfulness meditation, or simply like live in the present so you're alive to what's now happening. I mean, that's all good advice, and we take our turns trying to be fully present, except it's extremely difficult. We get tastes of it. We get morsels of it. The psalmist goes on, turn, O Lord, have compassion on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, so that we may rejoice and be glad all the days that we have. Make us glad as many days as you have afflicted us. God's not always thought of as being the source of our affliction, but the psalmist is not afraid to say that. And as many years as we have seen evil, let your work be manifest to your servants, and your power to their children. Let your favor be upon us, and prosper for us the work of our hands. How I would like to know the work of David's hands over his 71 years of life. Maybe in the sharing and in the PowerPoint, I'll get a taste of that. And I regret not having had a chance to see him very much since he and Elaine got married 24 years ago. That's not his fault. And finally, the psalmist says, "O prosper the work of our hands." Oh, prosper the work of our hands. I just want to add one further thought, and that's, well, no, first of all, let's sing a hymn. Let's sing the hymn that goes with sometimes with this psalm, "O God, our help in ages past." We'll just do verses 1 and the last one. What number is that, please?
It's page 806.
So it's page 806 in Voices United, the burgundy colored book. 826, you said?
806.
806, 806. We'll do verses 1 and 6. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal home. And the last verse. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come. Be thou our guard while troubles last, and our eternal home. So what I want to say now briefly is, we say the Serenity Prayer here at least every day. Somebody says it here, and sometimes it's said twice a day. More than the Lord's Prayer, actually. And most of you know the popular version of the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. But the original form is very close to it, but it adds, along with serenity, courage, and wisdom, it adds the theme or the note of grace. Grace will be happy to know. I've always envied somebody named Grace, because among other things it means gift. It can mean many things, but it also means gift. But the original version comes from Reinhold Niebuhr, one of my favorite theologians, and he's one of the favorites for Thomas's mom too, I think, still. It goes like this: "O God, grant us the grace to accept with serenity the things we cannot change." And I like that way of putting it, simply because, I don't know about you, but if there's some things I can't change, I need some help to accept it so I can get the serenity. So it helps when its grace is added, and not just in terms of sobriety issues, but all the other issues and challenges and concerns that we face, that I face. And then it goes on to say, grant me, and the courage to change the things, not only that we can, because that's important, but grant us the courage to change the things that we ought to. Because sometimes we do live under what you might call the imperative, or the command, or the mandate, the obligation, the urgency of the moment. And maybe I and others with me can change this, but we sometimes need to hear the word of admonishment, we ought to change it. It's more challenging, sometimes more difficult, and sometimes it can even be threatening in terms of feeling judged if we fail. But there it is. And then it goes on to say much the same thing, and the wisdom to distinguish the one, what we can't change, from the other, that which we can and ought to change. So when I think of David's life, any of our lives really, I think of those four virtues, or those four themes: grace and serenity, courage and wisdom. So I'm glad it's prayed here every day. We also include it as a part of our Sunday morning service, as small as it is, along with the Lord's Prayer. We combine those two. So one flows from the other, to remind ourselves of our obligations, our commitments. We're not in this alone. At the same time, accompanied with both the grace-based serenity prayer and the Lord's Prayer, the Jesus Prayer, as some call it, we're also following in the footsteps of that one in whose name we gather. Without the Christian story, this church simply wouldn't exist. It did exist before the Serenity Prayer found its way into these rooms. This church used to be across the street. But since the 1930s, at least, when the original founders and their supporters adopted the Serenity Prayer from a prayer that Reinhold Niebuhr had written in a small town in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, and after the service he had just not thrown the prayer away, but he didn't have use for it, and someone picked it up on the back of an envelope. So the tradition that I'm aware of goes, whether it exactly happened that way, I can't swear to it, and so it found its way into the hands of Bill W., Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob, who were the co-founders of AA, and they wisely adopted it. So those two prayers, the Lord's Prayer, the Jesus Prayer, and the Serenity Prayer, the grace-based Serenity Prayer, are very, very important in our lives here. And they probably had an influence, I can't testify to that, to David's life and Elaine's life, and others whom they associated with and found support from, and gave support to. That's the thing about these prayers, is, I mean, it gets us out of ourselves, even if we don't say them out loud. It gets us out of ourselves, you know? So we may sing another hymn, probably after some sharing the amazing, we'll sing Amazing Grace a bit later. And that's another way that grace comes to us, through the song Amazing Grace. And there's a wonderful story behind that some of you know. I'm not going to share it right now. And of course, the last blessing I'll give on your behalf, although you're welcome to say it with me, is a verse from the book of Numbers. It's sometimes used as a benediction, where the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord's face shine upon you and be gracious to you, David. You know, look upon you constantly and give you peace. I mean, that in more. I'm just paraphrasing that verse from Numbers chapter 6. But again, I said it out loud because I wanted you to hear that blessing, that benediction, which is so key, so prevalent for such a long time, also embodies the theme of grace. I'm not sure what's next. Yes, is it Grace?
Boy is going to read the...
I think you're encouraged to come up here and speak on the podium so that your voice can be picked up for those who are listening in through live streaming.
Shona, Raven, you want to read one of Auntie's or Granny's? Yeah, Grant's?
You okay? Okay, then you gonna do it?
Can you do it up here if you don't mind? Yeah, thanks.
You guys don't wanna do it?
You can do it together. Do it together, Grace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You want to join me? Okay.
Oh, thank you, fix that, please, thank you, Rick.
Thanks.
Okay. Here, this is from, Gran. Gran, the reading, the poem you wrote. Okay.
The Canoe That Never Tips, a special remembrance from Mum Jean. David bought a canoe, and wanted to take Mum for a first ride. He assured her that this type of canoe never tips, as she couldn't swim. No sooner were they in the water when the canoe tipped. Mum was hanging onto the rocks and trying to climb out of the water, but her and David were both laughing so hard, all she could do was hang on for dear life. Eventually, they made it out of the water.
Thankfully.
Right, well done. Okay, now the aunties. Come on. Right here. I thought you were gonna bring them.
Oh, you didn't tell me.
Oh, it's okay. Okay, there. Okay. This is very small. Okay. There you go.
David Webb, son and brother. David was born September 9th, 1949, to Jean and Lloyd Webb. He was a big fella, weighing over 9 pounds. We loved our baby brother, even though he could be a brat. We had to spend hours pushing him in the wooden car our father built for him. We never had a lot, but we had a happy childhood. Our summers were spent swimming, riding our rafts on the marsh, picnics, and Mum having to burn leeches off of us after our rafts were always sinking. Betty Lou lost one of her brand new pink shoes in the marsh, which David found 30 years later in perfect condition. Our winters were spent skating at the Wyville rink or on the marsh, tobogganing at the sand dunes, and having lots of bonfires, toasting marshmallows and wieners. Poker was played some Sunday afternoons following Sunday school. David was always skipping school to go fishing down at the old mill. He looked forward to smelt fishing every spring, a real treat because he got to stay up late. No one ever wanted to touch his school bag because there was always snakes in it. Once, Eldegene took his bag to school by mistake and opened it in the cafeteria at lunchtime. Guess what crawled out? You guessed it, the snakes. They caused quite the ruckus at school. Screams, tears, and lots of laughter. David loved the hunting camp and loved fishing when he was young and hunting as he got older. In his teens, David got a motorcycle to impress the girls. Whether it worked or not, we're not sure. Well, he got our mom. He is gone now, but we will never forget him. He will always be in our hearts. We like to imagine him lying in the sun with his fishing pole in the water at his favorite fishing spot, the old mill. David, you will be missed by all of us. Love, Elda Jean and Betty Lou.
Thank you. Okay.
Take your time, Chris.
So I just wanted to say welcome, family. I think we should acknowledge that the lands that we're on, I believe it's the
Go
Coast Salish, Musqueam. Thank you for letting us to be here. Okay. So this is, Dad asked me while he was in the hospital if I would mind writing his eulogy. I didn't realize when he asked me that was going to be so soon. So, eulogy for our dad, Papa, and great-grandpa, David Lloyd Webb. Born September 9th, 1949, and departed March 24th, 2021. In the beginning, my relationship with Dad was less than perfect. It definitely was not what we became. I was 18 years old when I met him for the first time. He was, to put it lightly, rough around the edges. He spoke rough. He was not the man that he turned into. As time passed and his relationship with Mom began to blossom, we started to see a softer side to Dad, especially when we began to make him grandparents. I was the first to give them a granddaughter, Miss D. I moved out here from Ontario in 1990 with that little girl. I remember Dad and Mom picking us up from the airport. I thought to myself, this is going to be a little scary, but Dad reassured me that I was going to be all right, just by taking the time to talk with me. He would carry Misty on his shoulders when her little legs would get tired. She remembered that he liked bringing her and the boys fishing. Now I'm starting to see a pattern. Our dad liked to go fishing. Misty used to say, I love my papa. I'm Papa's girl, right, Mommy? I'd say, yes, Misty, you're Papa's girl. He was, as my sister would say, a gentle giant. I noticed throughout the years that Dad had a special bond with each one of us. I never thought he played favoritism. I actually felt that he was fair with each of us. Our relationships were comfortable with Dad. We were able to talk to him no matter how difficult the situation. He always gave us useful advice. Now, whether we took it or not, that was a whole other story. Natalie remembered that when she first met Dad, she was not feeling well. She was about 11 years old. She had a fever, and Dad said, "Well, kiddo, I'm not sure what to do, but I really like your mom. So if you let me, I'd like to try." He took her outside in the snow to cool her down, and that's when she liked him. She made 2 rings for them with the clips from the beer top cans. She remembered marrying Mom and Dad. When our kids were little, he did his best to protect them and make them feel special. He was the best stepfather and grandparent a family could ask for. Dad did not have children of his own, that he knew about anyway. So we were it. With our brother Rob, their bond was that of 2 fellas just hanging out, smoking cigarettes and enjoying the company of one another, telling stories, laughing and being pranksters. With Lyle, he was just the same. He would go to visit on occasion to have a barbecue dinner, listen to music, smoke his cigarettes, tell stories, and have a few good laughs. With me, it was a little different, but the same. He would venture off to the casino where I worked just to come to say hi and to have a coffee with me on a break. We had a lot of heart-to-heart conversations, and he did let me know that he was thankful that I never gave them anything to worry about. He shared with me what he saw in me, and that was one of the many gifts, amazing gifts that he left with me. Dad Dave was considerate of all of us and our partners. He always asked how they are doing, asked about their families, just keeping up on special people in our worlds. He showed interest in our lives. At the end of a visit, he'd say hi to so-and-so for me, and I hope that they feel better soon. As our children turned into grown-ups and having troubles of their own, Dad's advice was always, if they have breath, there is hope. Mm-hmm. For me, this was the greatest gift that he has left with me. I hope that I know that Dad only shared with us his truth. No fabrication, just his honest truth. I grew to respect him as my stepdad. Oh, God.
You're doing great.
With Natalie, their relationship was greater only because she was the baby. She needed the most support, and they did worry about her. Nat and Dad had a beautiful relationship, even before Mom left. I wasn't always around, but when I was, I did witness the bond that they had. Natalie fussed over Dad, especially when he got sick. She went to clean and cook for Dad no less than 3 times a week. Was at the hospital by his side every time he went to VGH. She did her very best to stay connected with him and to inform us of Dad's health. Thankfully, no matter what has happened in our lives, we were all able to put differences aside for the sake of supporting Dad Grandpa. To be perfectly honest, Dad Dave was who he was to Natalie, her daddy. When our late mom passed, Dad stepped up to keep Nat's boys with him. Although there were some struggles, all of the boys had the same opportunity to stay with Papa. However, the one that stayed with Dad, was Raymond. Raymond grew up with his grandpa. I am positive that their bond was tremendous. Having late night or early morning conversations about family or just random topics. Raymond, after all, lived with Dad the longest. I'm sure his bond was that of a dad to Raymond. However, that was his papa. And that's who he was for each of his grandchildren. Frankie, being the firstborn grandson, was the namesake of Papa. Frankie Lloyd. This was a special honor for Frankie. As was for Dad. This was when Dad decided he wanted to stop drinking. He didn't want his grandchildren to see him as a drunk. Also, Frankie was the first one to make them great-grandparents to his daughter, Heidi. Then there's the youngest, Sean. I can't say for sure what the relationship was like, but knowing the way Dad was and knowing the way Sean was as a child, there probably was some butting heads. Sean likely got the father talks, especially since Sean became a dad himself and gave Dad their first great-grandson, Jordan. I still didn't see favoritism with Dad. Dad was our greatest fan of all of our accomplishments, no matter how big or how small they were. He had no problem patting us on the backs, giving us a kind word of encouragement in the hopes of us carrying on in a productive and positive manner. Dad was quite the character at times. Like I said before, rough around the edges. He liked sharing the story of how he met Mom. Barroom brawling, laugh out loud. He made some great friends along the way. Dad was private when it came to important things. He was considerate even when it came to his own friendships. If you were someone special and dear to his heart, you can bet your money that's where you'll find him, in your own. If you were a friend to Dad, you had a friend for life. Dad had been sick for the past 5 years, being on dialysis for his kidney disease, then his heart problems, then his Crohn's disease, then finally this, the C word, small cell carcinoma. Not COVID. Oh. He was on his last leg, as he would say. Granted, we all did not want Dad or Grandpa to suffer. We all have our own special memories of this wonderful man that we may reminisce with and about in time. Dad, Dave, was surrounded and comforted by the love and laughter, just how he imagined, with whom he wanted by his bedside. I have to say that he even got to be with his 95-year-old mother and his 2 sisters via FaceTime, right by his side. He fell into a deep sleep, snored a grand snore, and in his last breath, he left his body peacefully. God has blessed us with this strong, resilient man to help us all grow up. I know that he wasn't a church kind of person, but I'm glad that he did give himself to the Lord in the end of his days. Hope is what Dad lived by. Hope is what he had. I can picture him alongside Jesus while they fish for all of the loved ones that have gone on before us. I feel that he is with Mom, sitting, watching us in his new job as an angel, while he relaxes with his fishing rod, embracing the love of his life, our Mom. Pamapigawa min minwa. Until we meet again. Chimigwech. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. Okay. Are we gonna do a song?
We can, or,
And then can we open it? And then I can do that other part?
sure.
Okay.
Were others gonna speak, or you gotta wait till later? I'm just asking now.
There's only video.
Only
Okay.
video? So then
Okay.
it's just.
Well, let's do Amazing Grace then, friends. That's, I think it's in the Voices United, I think it's 266. If you've got the green book, Songs for Gospel People, I think it's 49. Never bring it. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Fine light in the beautiful sea. I chose to be happy. You and I, we're like diamonds in the sky. You're a shooting star, I see, a vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. I knew that we'd become one right away. Oh, right away. At first sight, I felt the energy of sun rays. I saw the life inside you. Shine bright tonight. You and I, we're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. I too, so alive. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Palms rise to the universe as we moonshine and Mali. Feel the warmth, we'll never die. We're like diamonds in the sky. You're a shooting star, I see, a vision of ecstasy. When you hold me, I'm alive. We're like diamonds in the sky. At first sight, I felt the energy of sun rays. I saw the life inside you. Shine bright tonight. You and I, we're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. I too, so alive. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shining bright like a diamond. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. So shine bright tonight. You and I, we're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. I too, so alive. We're beautiful like diamonds in the sky. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Oh yeah. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond.
I spent the day going through all my old things. I found a bunch of pictures with you on them. In your soccer uniform and your pretty brown eyes. It took me a while to set it down. When I think of who I am in your life, I always seem to come to find I'm not your dad, I'm just a man who's sworn to take care of you for as long as I can. I promise to love you, be there for you. Didn't expect you to do what you did. You loved me more than just a stepdad. remember when you got me to quit smoking. I hated it, but I still loved you. And you took on to my daughter, you loved her like the sister you never had. I'm amazed looking back, how great a family I have. Well, I'm not your dad, I'm just a man who's sworn to take care of you for as long as I can. I promise to love you and be there for you. I didn't expect you to do what you did. You loved me more than just a step back. Here I stand looking at you, as pretty as your mom on our day. I'm proud of the heart you have and the men that you found to marry. You're beautiful, and it's good to know I'm not your dad, I'm just a man who swore to take care of you for as long as I can. I promise to love you and be there for you. I didn't expect you to do what you did. I'm not your dad, I'm just a man who swore to take care of you for as long as I can. I promise to love you and be there for you. I didn't expect you to do what you did. You loved me more. You loved me more than just a stepdad.
Time is a funny thing. I think that everything, it's still happening, just in a different place. Things don't disappear just 'cause the view changed. So think of when we both had us alive, and I promise you that we're still laughing right now. We're still laughing right now. So trust me when I say that I'm at peace. Every little flame goes out eventually. Though I'm already gone, I'm still the words I left behind. I'm still a memory to make you smile, and those will be there for a while. Though I'm already gone, when you look up to the sky, just find a star that's shining bright, and know I'm right there by your side. I'm still with you, even though I'm gone. Wish that I could right my many wrongs. So quick to turn away, always waited too long. I'm sorry to the ones that I let down. No, I was never perfect, so I hope it ended where I helped more than I hurt. I know I hurt. Trust me when I say that I'm at peace. Every little flame goes out eventually. Though I'm already gone, I'm still the words I left behind. I'm still a memory to make you smile, and those will be there for a while. Though I'm already gone, when you look up to the sky, just find a star that's shining bright, and know I'm right there by your side. I'm still with you, even though I'm gone. And I know it's not easy, it's not easy letting go. So if you need me, you can find me in these notes. I'm still with you, I'm always with you. Though I'm already gone, I'm still the words I left behind. I'm still a memory to make you smile. Those will be there for a while. Though I'm already gone, when you look up to the sky, just find a star that's shining bright, and know I'm right there by your side. I'm still with you, even though I'm gone. So if you ever need me, just play this song.
Spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for a break that would make it okay. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. I need some distraction. Oh, beautiful release. Memories seep through my veins. Let me be empty. Oh, weightless, and maybe I'll find some peace tonight in the arms of the angel. Fly silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here. So tired of the straight line, and everywhere you turn, there's vultures and thieves at your back. Storm keeps on twisting. You keep on building the lies that you make up for all that you lack. It don't make no easier to believe of your silent reverie. In the arms of the angel, may you find some comfort here. You're in the arms of the angel, may you find some comfort here.
Okay. That's a song for you. I swear it's still got all tonight. Make your every wish come true. Every dream for all your life. That's not how the story goes. The world is full of perfect plans. If there's a promise that I broke, I know one day you'll understand. When times are hard, I know you'll be strong. I'll be there in your heart, and you'll carry on. Like moonlight on the water, sunlight in the sky. Fathers and daughters never say goodbye. Until I would reach to sleep, take me one dream of my own. Run to love and spread your wings. Find the one to call your home. When the times are hard, I know you'll be strong. I'll be there in your heart to carry on. Like moonlight on the water, and sunlight in the sky. Fathers and daughters never say goodbye. The times are hard, I know you'll be strong. I'll be there in your heart, and you'll carry on. Like moonlight in the water, and sunlight in the sky. Fathers and daughters never say goodbye. Fathers and daughters never say goodbye.
Most people think the key to
Oh, sorry. Aw. Love you, Dad. I just want to say, guys, I love yous all. We're all family. I am the matriarch in our family now. And I just want you to know that I love all of yous. And anytime you need me, I'm a phone call away. All right? Okay. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you.
I think we'll close our time together. You've been very patient, and I think it's time for refreshments and some conversation between and amongst ourselves. I'll leave it up to the family as to when they want to close the casket and do those appropriate things. So let me just close with that ancient blessing I referred to earlier from the book of Numbers. First of all, gracious God, we thank you again for this opportunity. We thank you for those who've been willing and able to speak, and those who've been able and willing to speak on behalf of others, near and far. And as we draw our time together, we pray this, we ask for this blessing. It comes from way, way back, thousands of years. Your gift to Moses to pass on to his brother Aaron, to pass on to the people in the midst of their long journey from slavery into a homeland. And may the Lord bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you, David, and give you peace now and forevermore. Amen. So our formal time has come to a close, and Grace and Natalie, did you want to leave the coffin open, or you want to close it? It's up to you. Just to give Raymond some instructions.
We're just gonna close
I
it.
just want to drop the flower in there.
Okay.
Yeah, please do. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. If you have anything to leave, you do it now. You know where it is, Laverne?
Go there on the other side.
Okay, come on, nobody.
Just take the handle. Hang on, hold it. Can you get the church? Okay, step off the curb carefully,
Damon, you gotta stay behind and eat.